Chilling, man. What's up with you?
Cool, cool.
Okay, go ahead,
Perfect.
Rodrigo.
All right. Thank you, Cecilia. Hey, Fino Boxing fans here with the one and only Gabe Rosado. Big fight coming up. Again, every single fight you do, it's a big fight like always.
Yeah.
Taking on the son of the legend, Shane Mosley Jr. First and foremost, how's been camp working with Freddie Roach this time around?
No, man, camp is great. Freddie is always pushing me. He's an offensive coach. So the punch output is high, the intensity is high. And we're going into Texas, with knockout. That's the kind of win we want. We want to make a statement. It's a sold out crowd. It's going to be a big fight, a big event. So, you got to take advantage of opportunities and moments like this, man. You just can't win a fight. You got to look spectacular, man, and that's the goal.
Definitely. I mean, you're making it kind of clear. We've seen your box, we've seen your bra, but this case, you want to go ahead and stop Shane Mosley Jr. It's, and obviously send a message to the 168 division. Is that the goal for you? Do you see? Is that the perfect victory for Gabe Rosado on fight night?
Yeah, I think it's a fight that I have to look spectacular because, it's the entertainment business. And I mean, yeah, a win is a win, but really that's not true because you can get a win and put on a shitty performance and no one really cares. Or you can get a win and put a spectacular performance and everyone's talking now. Yo, did you see that fight? Everybody's at the barbershop talking and you know what I mean? So exactly. That's the kind of performance you got to put because that's what puts you back in big fights. And that's the goal.
Yeah, obviously, everyone remembers, obviously, that comeback from behind it and stopping Bektemir Melikuzov, somebody who is a great, great amateur fighter. And obviously, someone who was going to be a star in Bektemir, and obviously that total action war with Jaime Munguia, man. I would imagine the fight fans, whenever they see, especially lately in the LA area, they keep raving about those two fights, right?
Yeah, man. It's like everywhere I go is the knockout or the Munguia fight. And, that's the beauty of really going on and putting on a great show because the fans appreciate it. A fight with me and Munguia is like, yeah, unfortunately I came up short, but it's just one of those performances where it's like, damn, there's some guys that win fights and they look pretty average, and it's like the fans are really not talking and there's really no hype behind it. But with the Munguia fight, I think it was such a great fight where the fans are like, yo, we want to see Gabe Rosado again. And a lot of the talk is when people see me, yo, when's the next fight? And once they found out I'm on this card, everyone got excited. Once Golden Boy put it up, everybody started talking about it, so it's dope. It's fun.
Yeah, we definitely seen that reaction from fight fans. Once we, obviously mentioned that you were going to fight Shane Mosley, it was just all the DMs like, oh, great fight, all the messages, from the fight fans. But,
sure.
What makes Gabe Rosado different, man? Because, obviously, every time you look at your record, man, it's incredible the amount of champions, the amount of the wins and defeats and losses at the same time that you have always fought the best, man. What makes, is it the Puerto Rican side or is it just being for Philly that you've been willing and ready to fight anybody?
Yeah, man, I think it's just the mindset, man, like having short-term memory and not allowing the negativity to like overcome anything. Cause, you can get caught up in that negative shit, you can start reading shit that's negative and if you feed into that stuff, you believe it. And if you believe it, it shows in your attitude. It shows in how you carry yourself. So I really don't care about the haters or anyone saying anything negative. I always stay positive, and I always got a good spirit about how I carry myself, and I think that shows in my fights. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, man, the short-term memory. It's like, all right, whatever happened in my last fight, that was my last fight. Is on to the next. You know what I'm saying? And every fight is another chapter. You know what I'm saying? And that's how boxing is. Boxing is like people remember you for what you did last. So everybody's mind is that Munguia war, like, yo, that fight was crazy, right? That's all people care about. You know what I'm saying? So I give you an example, right? At some point, Jacobs was an entertaining fighter. Now it's like, who cares? Because he's not looking too great. So
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's just, and I gotta pick on him because I don't like him.
I mean, it kind of, it all started, once we fought him in Florida, like five fans saw you, beat Darren Jacobs. Sadly, the judges didn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's now facing Jaime Munguia. So now that you kind of brought him up, obviously, I want to get your thoughts on that. Having been, in the ring with both of them, and obviously you've been in the ring with, with the best of them. So, from your point of view, that's going to be a fight that's going to be in the zone. How do you see that fight playing out between Munguia and Jacobs?
No, yeah, Munguia is definitely stronger fighter, a higher punch output. I believe more durable. And I think Jacobs is at a point where he seems like he's a little washed up. You know what I mean? When we fought, honestly, I was surprised on how easy the fight was going. Because, you're thinking Jacobs, you're thinking champion, right? And you're thinking, I'm expecting a lot more in the fight. And, the fight was it was a pretty easy fight. So, I see Munguia getting that win and possibly even getting a stoppage.
Yeah, is the beef between you and Jacobs, is that real beef? Because obviously we saw it, leading up to fight night, during the pressure, the weigh-in, and things got heated. Is it personal between you and him?
It's really, I just think he's full of himself. Some people just don't know how to accept the stardom and, lights, camera, action. Some people actually feel that take that shit to the head. I could care less if people know me or don't know me. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, bro, I'm me. If you know me, great. If you don't, I don't care. And some people, to them, the fame, it gets to their head and they get a little carried away. I feel like, he's just one of those guys. So, I really don't respect that. I'm like, I treat everybody the same, so that's just my outlook, especially when you come from where we come from. We're both from the East Coast, from the hood. And it's like, I never, I can be at another point in my life now, but I'm never going to forget where I came from. And that's just my mindset. I think that's what separates me. I think that's what separates me and him,
Yeah, we definitely respect you, for coming out out the mud and making a successful career in boxing and in Hollywood as well. Now, going back to Shane Mosley, obviously, he has a great name, Shane Mosley Jr. He doesn't have the, that pedigree, let's say, of, the long amateur career or fighting for world titles. How will you rank him? Because obviously, you fought anybody at 154, 160, 168. Where do you rank Shane Mosley just, based on his skills?
I think, look, at the end of the day, right, his father is a legendary Hall of Famer. So, he has a boxing IQ. He understands the sport. Whether he's gifted like his father, I don't think he is. That's a one of a kind type of thing, to be a Hall of Famer in the sport. That's a great achievement. And it's very rare to happen. But, I'm not taking him lightly, because he's hungry. He feels like he has something to prove, to be the son of a legend must be a lot of pressure. You always want to feel like you want to have your own identity, especially when you share the same name. So, he has a chip on his shoulder, right? So he's going to come in with like, oh, I'm fighting Gabe Rosado, and obviously, I'm coming from knockout of the year and fight of the year with Munguia. So to him, this is the biggest fight of his life. So I'm not going to take him lightly at all, but I'm locked in, I'm focused, and I'm excited, man. I've had a really great camp. So, this is a fight, I set goals for me at 2021 that I was able to accomplish. Unfortunately, I did come up short with the Munguia fight, but it did live up to the hype. So I'm excited about that. But 2022, man, it's the road to the title, and Mosley's in the way right now.
Yeah, it's a goal for you to get that world title opportunity at 168. I know this fight's at 168 against Shane Mosley Jr., right?
Yeah, honestly, between 68 or 75, there's great fights at 75. There's great fights at 68. The weight division is not. It's not that wide. 68, 75 is almost the same thing. I walk around at 190, so I'm a big dude. So you know, definitely not going back down to 60. But 68 or 75 is definitely, there's fights in those divisions that I would definitely like, and I would entertain.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you mentioned 168. Obviously, the Canelo's the undisputed champion at that weight class. You know, he's moving up to 175. But do you see the division maybe, you know, opening up if he decides to stay at 175? Obviously, you got David Morelos, you know, who's the regular champion of the WBA. You got Lemieux against Benavidez, who are going to fight for the interim. All these fights, I would imagine, you know, Gabe Rosado is willing and ready to face anybody at that weight class.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think, man, it's like the 68 division is stacked. It's stacked, you know, and Canelo's holding all the belts hostage, you know. But if Canelo decides to stay at 75, then, you know, obviously those belts get vacated. And with me being ranked and having a title at WBA definitely gives me the opportunity that, you know, I beat Mosley, that I can now fight for one of these titles. So, you know, that's the goal. And at 68, I felt a lot stronger. I felt a lot healthier. You know, I'm definitely a bigger puncher at the weight class. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. But, you know, like I said, Canelo's a shot caller right now. He's holding the game hostage, as he rightfully should. You know, he paid his dues. You know, he's worked hard, and he's a great champion. So, you know, everybody just got to be patient and wait. And like Canelo said, everybody got to fight each other. So that's what it is.
I mean, that, you know, we'll wrap it with this. Obviously, the final question. You know, you're one of those guys, like we mentioned, you fight everybody. You know, Jesus Soto Caraz early on, and Fredo Angulo. Man, you know, you faced all of them. Then look, you know, Peter Quillen, Gennady Golovkin, Jermell Charlo. I mean, the list goes on and on. You know, how many champions, future Hall of Famers you have faced. You know, what message do you have to, you know, to Benavidez, to Jermell Charlo, to David Morel, to all these other guys who maybe they're not fighting each other at the same time? Even like Munguia, you know, obviously Munguia faced you, but do you feel that these guys have to face each other, and obviously not only for the benefit of their career, but for the benefit of boxing?
Absolutely. I think Haney is making an example right now by going to Australia to fight Cambosos, and it's taking less money than what he's probably used to making, you know. And he made the perfect example. Before Floyd Mayweather became Money May, he was Pretty Boy Floyd. And, you know, he wasn't making the $50 million, $100 million fights. You know, he was making the $2 million, the $3 million fights. He was paying his dues. And, you know, I think right now everybody wants to be Money May. And no one wants to do what Pretty Boy did, which is you got to fight all the killers and you got to fight each other. And I think, you know, for Charlo to say he wants to go up to 68 and fight Canelo, but then you're not fighting Benavidez, it's like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, guys are thinking more business-wise. They're not really thinking like they don't want to be great. They're thinking more business. So in order to get those big fights, man, you got to be great and you got to take chances. And I give a lot of props to Haney, who's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to Australia, which is dangerous because you go to Australia. We saw what happened to Manny Pacquiao when he fought Horn. I mean, he clearly won that fight and got robbed. So, you know, a lot of respect to Haney for doing that. I think he's setting a good example for the young fighters coming up. Like, all right, if Haney do it, all right, fuck it, well, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of respect for Haney and obviously you as well, and Gabe Rosado. But thank you so much for taking the time here with us at Fino Boxing. We can't wait for April 9th. We know it's going to be stacked with fight fans. And I know, you know, Mexican fight fans support Gabe Rosado. So it will definitely be there present in San Antonio, April 9th.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, Cecilia. Have a good one.